Welcome to Immediate Review, where we see a movie in theaters and review it immediately. We just saw Queen and Slim. Who's first? I think I'm gonna go first.
All right,
Okay.
man, do it.
All right. I legitimately enjoyed every second of this movie. It was so good and so like slow building and just thoughtful of how it laid out the story. So like if you guys have seen the trailers, you know that the movie is about two people essentially meeting for the first time and having an encounter with a police officer where shit goes down and they have to run from the law. And yeah, I was expecting, like a Bonnie and Clyde, just, standard love story. And they didn't do that. They, like, legitimately do not really like each other at all after their first date. And when they actually start behaving like themselves, they kind of hate each other even more. And you slowly get to experience their relationship blossom over the course of the turmoil that they have to endure. And, man, it's just done so well. Like, I honestly feel like this should get a nom for Best Screenplay.
Should get plenty of noms.
Like, it's got fucking just amazing writing throughout the whole thing. Characters feel so real. It's acted.
It deserves most of the big ones except music. Like, original score is the only one.
Yeah.
Like,
and honestly, the soundtrack was super fucking good too. It had some R&B.
oh, the soundtrack's great. It's just not like Oscar worthy.
Yeah. But yeah, it did a really good job with the soundtrack. And yeah, there's a bit on sound design I wanted to talk about. They had these like little moments throughout the movie where our characters in frame would stop talking, but the audio of their conversation would continue on
with what they're thinking.
And like we would have these like interactions of like their voices saying what's going on in a conversation and then facial expressions reacting essentially in kind of a similar tone to like what is being said. And it's just like done so incredibly well. The editing was great. It was just like so good that there was just constant like road landscape shots that were just gorgeous. Like when they get to the beach and just like all throughout the whole movie, like they just have these like either drone or crane or helicopter shots. I couldn't tell, but goddamn, they were beautiful.
I think they used drones on a couple of them, but there was one where the camera panned and was clearly on a helicopter.
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, they just have these, and as the environments change, our characters change, and like, there's great character arcs throughout the whole thing. It builds their romance, I feel like, perfectly. Like their first kiss and like first intimate moments are not just rushed into. Like I was really hoping in the dance scene they didn't have their first kiss, and they fucking didn't. They like played it out and had it be like a real relationship, and fucking I respect the shit out of it. But man, there's gonna be some people who hate this fucking movie. I've gotta say it. People are gonna hate this fucking movie. If you love cops, if you're just like, cops are the shit and I fucking love licking the boots of cops, you're gonna fucking hate this movie, and you're gonna think anybody that likes it is a degenerate cop killing fuck.
You probably won't like it if you don't like movies that address like racial issues in America as well.
Yeah. And yeah, this movie puts those at the forefront. Like I was expecting that to kind of be a background thing. We hear about it in like the news broadcast while characters are talking and whatnot, but no, they straight up, there are riots. They fucking like there's some shit that goes down. We'll talk about it more in the spoiler bit. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. I fucking love this movie. Go and see it, because once the police officers see it, Regal's not going to show it anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about the cinematography too. I was stoked that they shot this on film. I was very happy about that.
There was a couple shots where I was like, is this on film? And I was like, I'm not going to bother Dakota asking about it.
Oh, yeah. was quiet. It was during some of the nighttime shots. I could tell by the way the lighting was. I was like, "Oh shit! They totally shot this on film."
No day for night editing here.
And the day shots weren't like overly bright, like the way digital cameras capture an image. It's bright. It's fucking bright. And film is like a strip of just pure black celluloid, and so it captures light differently. And I think it was really appropriate for the film to not have like a vibrant, bright digital look. It just had more look of like movies from the like late 90s to all of the 2000s. And yeah, I thought it helped just the tone of the movie, because sometimes even, not saying it's always bad, Midsummer fucking digital worked well in its advantage with all the blown out lighting. I don't know, getting off topic. Anyways, I'm really glad they shot it on film. But yeah, I'm feeling heavy right now. This movie really hit me, and yeah, I think I'm gonna pass it off to person A.
A lot has already kind of been said in terms of what can be said pre-spoilers. Because similar, just like the emotional beats were extremely powerful. So yeah, they by the time that the film ends, it's like, in terms of how it hits you, it's pretty
Yeah, it kind of has a pretty big shift from like hope to just sad.
What are your general thoughts though, person A?
I mean, I really enjoyed it, and everything's kind of already been summed up, so I don't have like a whole lot to say that doesn't get into the spoilers.
All right, well, let's start spoilers then.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, yeah.
All right, spoilers.
Yep, go.
And I'm not starting spoilers.
Yes, it's your turn. We want you to go, and if you want to wait till
somebody
spoilers.
else start with the spoilers.
All right, Peter, take it away.
Okay, starting off with spoilers right now. Okay, so the obviously a cop gets shot in this, right? And I think that our actors do an incredible job of portraying the tonal shift, I think, that comes with a huge impact of anxiety that comes with essentially, realizing I killed a person, I'm not allowed to go talk to my family anymore.
Not just a person, a cop.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, like I mentioned,
the camera portrays this well by just like sitting on him for 30 seconds, just his face. Like most movies would just instantly cut to her going, "What'd you do?" Like the moment he's shot, but the movie he shoots him and then it's just
and her mind is going, and he's just like and it's said a couple times, like, I'm not a criminal and whatnot, and we slowly just get to walk with these characters and essentially explore the ends of their life. Like, while the ending does end, spoiler alert, with them getting shot by police officers, they essentially learn throughout the whole movie that these experiences that they're talking about doing, and this like bucket list of like last moments that they want to have, that they actively go and seek those things out. Like Daniel Kaluuya, he like rides a horse for the first time, and there's a scene where they like hang out of the car and then they switch driving so the other person can do it.
Eat your heart out, Titanic.
Yeah, and they just have these like, I don't know, beautiful moments of life, and I think that one of Daniel's lines in it is, "Are you trying to get yourself killed?" And it's more about them realizing that like they're already going down that path, and this is the last chance they have to live.
What if they don't make it?
Yeah, and like to really live life to its fullest, and it does that without necessarily saying it. We get to see these people decide to shrug off what they feel like doing at the moment, or what they need to do at the moment, and do what they've always wanted to do, because they're literally not going to get another chance. And yeah, I think that there's something beautiful about that, of just, living life without any regrets, even if you're forced to, like, I don't know. And yeah, the ending is incredibly powerful. And I think that, while I was devastated that our characters did get shot, they kind of do the Irishman thing where it shows time afterwards. And while Irishman ends on Robert De Niro, this kind of shows the societal change, at least in the small neighborhood where this church essentially comes together, and a large amount of people.
I was so happy that it did that.
It
did the Peter Jackson. It faded to black twice.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that, whenever I see movies like this and think about stuff like this, I always think back to a line from Anthony Kiedis from Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's from in Californication. He says that destruction leads to a very rough road, but it also breeds creation. And we kind of get to see that as this like large network of the black community, essentially, even with the people that we see who disagree with what happens and what Queen and Slim did. They all end up coming together and uniting. And I think that that's, like, while that message may be coming a little late in terms of, like, when a lot of the whole police drama was happening, like, back in,
there's
2015.
No specific time it needs to come in.
Yeah, it's like...
It's ongoing.
It
happens.
It's like, it happens every day, and people are still experiencing it, even if it's not in the media as much as it was, 5 years ago. But yeah, that being said, I feel like it's done really well, but I feel like if someone who, like I said, loves police officers and doesn't believe that any of that is justified, this movie's not going to change your mind. You're literally just going to think that this is a story where we're following a group of cop killers, and it's a heroic ending at the end when the cops kill the killers.
There's a lot of gray area. This is not just,
a kid shoots another cop in the face in this movie. Like, it doesn't shy away from...
Yeah, the look on his face, too, is, what the fuck have I done? I shouldn't have done this. Like, the movie... I think I'm ready to do my general thoughts. Lot of movies try to address racism and, directly connect it to events going on today. And this is probably the best one I've ever seen, the greatest one I've ever seen. It's such an amazing film. Maybe I'm not ready to go.
All right, person A.
I'm also still in the, like, processing.
Yeah. This is one of those heavy movies. Sorry.
No, go. You were supposed to go, so go.
This is one of those heavy movies that takes a while to process, and the ending hit me so hard. I'll just go ahead and get out and just talk about the ending, I guess, get it off my mind. It's just, I knew they were gonna, like, die, most likely. But the way they did it caught me so off guard. And I don't know, I really thought it was very unique and powerful. Queen gets shot. And it made me jump. Like, I am jump scare proof. I never jump at moments like that. And it did. I was genuinely surprised. And, he goes down to hold her. And in my mind, I'm, like, thinking, like, I want him to like, sacrifice himself. I want them both to go down. Like, that would be so just, like, beautiful and symbolic. That sounds horrible. I want them to go down. No, but you know what I mean, thematically. And so I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, if he pretends to go for his gun, he's going to get shot. I'm thinking in my head, oh, if he runs towards the police, he'll get shot. You know, if he does all this just aggressive stuff, then he'll get shot. And he just lovingly fucking... Fuck, I'm gonna fucking cry. He just lovingly fucking picks her up. And just fucking walks towards the cops. Like, he's... There is no potential... Oh, he was going for his gun. Or anything like that to justify the ending.
He's literally in the most vulnerable position he could be in.
But you know what I mean? Like, the ending could have easily been like that, and there would still be the ability to, like, I don't know, for someone to justify that it was okay to shoot them.
Instead,
but it's
the
like
justification is him not listening to the police.
Yeah, and just walking. He's
And
holding her. He's literally just holding her. Like, what? Why can't he just walk all the way up to the cops while holding her? What's he gonna do? His fucking hands are full. She's dead. It's just like, it purely represents just like how fucking willing the cops are to kill for any excuse.
Yeah,
that
if you
situation.
don't follow their orders, like that's why they shot Queenie too, is because they weren't, or Queen. That's why she didn't. They wouldn't get down on the ground. That's literally all. They weren't reaching for a weapon. They weren't anything. They just wouldn't get on the ground.
And some people believe that is justification for being fucking shot. It's just like, well, they're cops, they're an authority, so blah, blah, blah.
So if you don't follow their orders, then it's like, that's never an excuse to kill somebody. And that's the thing too, that it's a kill shot. It's not it's never a, I'm gonna shoot somebody in the kneecap to, bring them down, or I'm gonna,
Yeah, the reason they do that is because they have to prove in court that they felt legitimately threatened, and there's a benefit of the doubt that the person gets, that if a cop shot you in the leg, they did not feel like their life was threatened by you. They wanted to subdue you, and that doesn't justify a round. They could have used a taser or anything else, so they shoot for the body and they make sure you're dead, so your word is negligible. And it's their video and their friends who review it that get to make the final call. And yeah, I think that this movie portrays that incredibly well. They even have the good cop character, and yeah, he gets fucking stuffed in a trunk because of one line that he said that at least I would have put him in a trunk for. It was self-defense, and then he's like, oh, I'm sure it was. Plenty of my buddies I've seen go over the line plenty of times. And it's like, why are you still a fucking cop then? Why aren't those people in fucking jail? Because you kept your fucking mouth shut and you protected the thin blue line before you protected civilians. And that doesn't make you a good fucking cop.
Yeah, whose job exactly is it? Are you supposed to? Sorry, mumbled that. Who exactly are you supposed to protect and serve? In that case,
each other. Like,
yeah,
that's the whole
obviously.
point of the thin blue line, and like why that became a thing was like just solidifying that, like, cops before civilians, like, we keep our brotherhood strong, organized fucking gang, and yeah, it's like, fucking cop haters, come on, fight me.
All right, let's talk about the movie some more too. Not that I'm against this discussion. I feel like we have yet to truly dive like deep into some more specifics.
So they also have a character that he's essentially the black cop that finds them in the garage when they're about to leave, and kind of shows them, like, I feel like that was a somewhat acceptable view of like a good cop and whatnot. Like
my thought was like, it's all the white cops are corrupt. I'll be corrupt for a second.
Yeah, it's like,
and right before that, his white partner too is calling him boy and like just being a fucking like low-key racist
and yeah,
dickbag.
so it implies that he deals with this stuff
on a regular
basis.
So
when he's met with it, he's like, you know what, fuck it.
Well, and that's the like argument that most cop lovers give, is like, oh, if you don't like cops, you need to become a police officer and change shit from the inside. And
Except
it's
when
like,
cops try to do that, a lot of times then they're...
yep, you either become the good cop who fucking has to remain a cop but not say anything bad about your other cop partners doing bad shit, or else then you're gonna fucking get in trouble or worse. And
or everybody shits down your neck.
yeah, or you just become like, you know, they're just racist against you because you're black or whatever, and like if you're trying to stand up for things that they don't believe in, then fucking they're just gonna look down on you anyways. And like I said, or worse, like there's
Yeah, but you
there's
call
some-
for backup doesn't come. You like try to file something like that, like
Yeah,
necessary, and oops, it got lost, like shit like that.
Yeah, what was that movie that came out this year? We didn't go see it. There wasn't like good reviews on it, but
Black
it was
and Blue.
Black and Blue. Yeah, just basically like that. You know, a good cop tries to see something fucking shady going on and tries to report it. Next thing you know, they're a target. You know, it's the same thing. It's all fucking organized and orchestrated. Like, might be sounding like conspiracy theorists now, but like I swear to God, like if you don't see this stuff happening, like you're not looking.
I mean, it's literally on YouTube. Just fucking look it up.
Yeah.
Woof. All right, let's go down. Themes and meaning. What's this movie about? I'm sorry.
This movie's about a couple going on a road trip together. Yeah, okay, I did want to say that though. The first like 90% of this movie, I was like, this feels like a buddy comedy road trip movie without the buddy and comedy.
It's got
like,
elements of it. I mean, it's got its moments of humor.
Yeah,
like-
but it's not like
Well-timed humor combined with drama.
yeah, but it's not like they run into somebody random, he gets in the car and you know, then they have to hitchhike and they learn about the unwritten rules of the road, and you know, it's not like a comedy where every stop something ridiculous and crazy happens. It's like a road trip where every stop they stop and do things like normal people. Like, I don't know, it was just
It's true, man.
and yeah, like the dancing scene, like where they go and just dance
and
and
they have
whatnot.
their second date, and it
Yeah.
like, really makes you think about like what if you were in that kind of situation with somebody you literally just met off of an app. Like that's you know each other on such a surface level, and now you're in like the deepest level of shit with them, and basically like you're spending the last of your life with this person that you don't even know, really, and like
Might as well get drunk and high and fucking fuck in a car.
And you know, I think that's the type of stuff that like people are gonna pick apart on this movie. Like, oh, it's dumb that they stopped to ride a horse. It's dumb that they went to the fucking dance. It's like, first of all, it's thematic and symbolic. The movie's very clear about that. Second of all, in the words of Tommy Wiseau, it's human behavior. People are fucking impulsive and reckless, and when you're facing fucking potential death, the movie fucking flat out says it. It's like you're gonna take risks and do things that, you know, might not be part of the plan. But
and like Peter said, like they're trying to live for whatever amount of time they got left.
yeah,
And with that, like with minorities, like getting, you know, pushed down and just treated like shit, you know, essentially their entire life. And like even what Queen says, where she fucking, you know, defended her uncle for killing her mom and whatnot. Like she's been through the fucking shit. Her first fucking lawyer case and whatnot. It's like, you know,
First lawyer case.
yeah, it's like, I don't know, just like let them fucking ride a horse, let them dance together before they fucking die. Like it's something that, like, I don't know, like there's literally a movie called The Bucket List where old people go and do things that they want to do before they die. It's like, I don't feel like that theme should be fucking like, you know, stepped on at all. It's like, it's something that people do. It's normal fucking behavior. Tommy was right.
It's human behavior.
Yeah.
All right, the directing, the tension in this movie is amazing.
Oh yeah.
The willingness to linger and let scenes sink in is so, you know, well done. I mean, they obviously knew how to direct the actors well. Yeah, I just not only is the tension from just the technical aspect of filmmaking really good, but I also enjoy, there's an extra layer of tension in the scene where the cops are like searching through the house, and in fucking that like, you know, suburban neighborhood and stuff, and they have
Oh
to,
yeah, when Barbecue Becky turns them into the cops.
yeah, and they have to fucking you know, escape. And it's just like there's an added layer of tension where it's just like they can't just like step out and blend into the streets, because this is like I mean, the moment a woman saw two black people going into their neighbor's house, she called the cops. I mean, reasonably, you know, they're on the loose and she probably suspected it, but it's like it's just not going to be easy for them to just like easily escape, and it added an extra layer of tension that just, I don't know, I haven't really experienced in most movies. I don't know.
Also, too, like the director does a good job at the beginning of like framing them separately to kind of like highlight the fact that they don't know each other very well.
I was going to talk about that
they're
in
kind of
cinematography, but
like,
yeah.
that they're like the separateness of the, and then by the end, like all the shots are all of the, like they're together, they're like their hands or some part of them physically touching always in some way, and like it's always framed together. But in the beginning, like even the car shots are framed in such a way that one person is completely like out of frame, and it's completely focused on one person as it goes back and forth in conversation. And so like over the course of the film, like slowly as they get to know each other more and they're more vulnerable with each other, they're more in frame together more often, like, and central to the frame throughout. Like even like the first shot of them at the diner, they're like on opposite sides, like,
No, yeah.
and it like keeps that throughout the beginning of the film until they slowly like come together and get to know each other.
Not only that, but the editing, they break one of like the core rules of editing, which is like eye focus. You know, when you cut, your eye needs to be still looking at the same general area. And they have fucking Slim in the far right with nobody in the left, and then they cut to her in the far left with nobody in the right, or vice versa. And yeah, they do it in the diner, they do it in the car a lot, and it is just, it's like your eye, it forces you to like look at that screen and then have to switch to that screen. And that's just, it's one of those subtle things that movies always make sure to strive for. And yeah, I'm really glad the director wasn't afraid to just like break those rules for the sake of the story. Yeah, I really respect filmmakers who can do that. Comments on the directing.
The directing, I mean, my comment more ties in with like the cinematography, but it was a director's choice, so I'm going to talk about it now. This movie, like you said, took some fucking risks with the camera work. I don't think there's one handheld gimbal shot. Like, I'm pretty sure every single fucking shot that was like close up, even in the cars and shit, was handheld on the shoulder, and they look fucking incredible. They're super stable. You can see the human motion in it and whatnot, but like, goddamn. And like, since it was done in film, I honestly feel like that's probably why it wasn't handheld gimbal, because the gimbals that they need for film equipment are like, you know, they're heavy and they have to be rebalanced. Well, because film is constantly moving one film reel from one side to the other, and so it needs a special calibration in order to be that balanced. And so they went handheld with it, and goddamn, they fucking did it. It looked so goddamn good. And yeah, they used tripods when they needed to, and they had, you know, like the helicopter, drone, fucking whatever shots they had, which were incredible. And
their driving scenes were excellent.
Always fucking excellent. Like I wanted more. I could just watch like a movie of just a car driving and just like in scenic shots. Like I loved it.
I was thinking about Ford v Ferrari too. There were times when them just driving was visually more interesting than the races.
Straight up.
In Ford v Ferrari.
Straight fucking
Ford
up.
v Ferrari.
But yeah, straight up.
I actually do want to say something, themes and meaning, you know, I joke, but actually there were some visual cues that I found quite interesting. The two biggest ones were the fact that they had to hide under the floorboards away from the SWAT team, which is, very similar to how, like Jews in Poland had to hide under floorboards away from the Nazis. And then the scene when they're driving in the country, and then he goes, "Oh, this is beautiful," and she looks and she sees predominantly black men on a chain gang with like fucking white cops on horses,
and they were working a field. It wasn't just
sure
cleaning up the road.
A good job and shit, and it's just like, remnants of slavery are still slavery and bigotry, and hunting humans basically, and just I thought those visual cues were really powerful, really impactful.
I was actually gonna say that this felt a lot like we didn't see Harriet this year, but it honestly felt like an Underground Railroad kind of story. These two, essentially like put into criminals like slaves were when they ran from their slavers, and yeah, just like especially the scene where they're like hanging outside the window and they're doing it just like embodies this idea of like freedom and like doing what you want to do in that moment, essentially leading up to when you're gonna die. And yeah, I just really loved that sense of just exploration and freedom, and just a sense of like being like not being tied down even with the chains of the justice system coming after you as fast as they can. I really appreciated that.
That's why they chose death at the end. I mean, I know that she got shot and she didn't see it coming, but she did. I got the vibe that she was ready to die.
Oh yeah.
Well, she's a lawyer and she knows what's coming.
When she said, I won't let go of your hand for anything, I knew that it was like, okay, like she's ready to die. And then, what is it with fucking cops shooting the woman first? Like, I think they're taking a bit from me from the Charlie's Angels thing. Like, they just find women way too much of a threat, because literally Daniel doesn't get shot once until the end, and then he gets shot a lot. But like she gets shot in the leg, and I honestly, this is another thing I wanted to mention. The only unrealistic thing in this movie is how much wound prep is done with their clothes on. Like, she doesn't actually clean her wound properly until they get to New Orleans, and she takes her pants off and actually, like, I don't know.
There are plenty of details that go by the wayside that you can scrutinize.
Navigation,
and
like how do they find these places?
Okay, that was one
maps?
I would have liked to have seen just for comedic elements where they're like, shit, we don't have our phones. Like, I don't know, that could have been an interesting way for them to interact.
Maps or anything, but they're still able to find places. But that's okay.
Yeah, I don't like to criticize movies like that. I really try to stay away from like, I wish they did this and that, and then it would be a good movie. Like, try to just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe a dash of that once in a while.
But yeah,
while we're lighthearted, I'd just like to say, dear Rian Johnson, this is how you subvert expectations, motherfucker. God damn it. Jesus fucking Christ, your movies suck, dude.
Okay.
Well, I say.
Oh, Trump bad. Ooh, I rich white man who has lots of money to make whatever the fuck I want. And this movie needed like 5 production companies to get off the ground. Like, did you notice how many production companies were at the beginning?
Well, and think about like what we said in our Knives Out review. Like we were talking about fucking how we don't hate movies that have politics at the forefront. And here's a perfect example of one that takes like police brutality and like the murder of minorities by police and puts it right front and center on the screen, and we fucking love the whole thing.
And I've seen movies like that aren't good. It's not just the fact that it's there that makes it good. It's just
how it's done.
This is a brilliant film. This is an important film. It honestly is. But
what about Dick Jewell, dude? That's an important political film.
Come on, let's
Oh.
Dick Jewell Yeah, it's actually Richard Jewell, but
Person A, we've been talking the most. You got...
I don't, there's just another thing that I realized with there are a couple things. One, the choice to not reveal their names, their actual names, until the very end, until after their deaths,
yeah, they
was
never.
especially powerful because I
Wow,
kept
you're
thinking
right.
about that. I was like, they haven't said their names, like at all. Like nobody said their name. Their names weren't said until the news story at the end.
They
after
had their
they
names
died.
on one of the protester signs too at their funeral. They said
Yeah, but that was after they
after they
the
died.
news part had after their names had been said. But so their names aren't revealed at all until they die, and then the news clip comes up announcing their deaths.
And yeah, they're never called Queen and Slim either. It's like
it's just the name
yeah,
of the
just the name of the
But yeah,
the movie
and then
gives them.
then you find out that they're Angela and Ernest at the very end. But like her uncle doesn't call her by her name.
Yeah, nobody does. They don't say their names through the whole
His
thing.
dad doesn't call no family members. Nobody calls them by their names. They
That
just
is really interesting. It makes me
yeah.
love the movie more.
And then in the newspapers, of course, their names aren't mentioned. They're just called cop killers.
Yep.
But it's interesting that their names aren't said until they die. And the other thing about his death that I was thinking about is the fact that he's in that vulnerable position. They shot her once, right? And she went down. They shot him so many times.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of their MO, you know. The first shot was like it's like in the Battle for Helm's Deep, you know, the one guy who shoots the arrow first on accident, and then next comes the volley.
Dude, I totally thought about Helm's Deep, I'm not gonna lie.
No, yeah, I mean, and yeah,
But
like
it's one of those things that's simultaneously like a movie thing, but also very sadly an
Wow.
actual cop thing. Like, it's just fucked up.
No, you're totally right. I'm blown away.
what?
This person's only credits have been music videos, rap and R&B music videos.
Yeah, I heard that it was like Beyonce's music video director, and this was their first
well,
movie.
see,
And then-
if it's Beyonce's director, that's a little bit more elevated than your standard music
Yeah,
video.
but trust me,
if
they
this
got
person
Yin
directed
Yang
Lem-
Twins, fucking.
Did they
like-
direct Lemonade?
No, yeah, they're newer shit. Yes, I'm not saying that stuff's bad.
no,
it's
no,
just
no.
like
I want to know if they directed Lemonade.
yes, but I'm not saying their
okay,
new
that
shit's.
makes sense.
I'm not saying that makes them bad. I'm just saying like. It's music video directors never make good movies. It never happens. Once in a while, but
Yeah.
they also did Master of None and a show called Insecure. But yeah, this is their first feature film. This is now a director that's on my top 10 modern directors radar. Honestly, this person is really good. They're coming out with a thriller next. Cool. I'm excited.
All right.
Alright,
Is there anything else we haven't touched on yet?
yeah, let's. I had the list up. Writing, it was, I mean, extremely well written, like you
Yeah,
said.
that's
It's-
it.
it
Yeah.
deserves
I
an
didn't
Oscar.
know that Flea could be serious.
Flea's in a lot of movies. This is one of his best roles. He killed it.
Like-
If you don't know who Flea is, he's in the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and you may remember him from such films as Back to the Future Part 2 and a show called The Wild Thornberrys. He
He's
was
Donnie.
Donnie, yeah. All right, acting.
Acted
it's like
phenomenally, yeah.
fucking A.
Noms, for sure.
Like seriously.
Cinematography.
Yeah, key. Fucking on point.
Special effects. I mean, the gunshots and stuff, yeah, it was
Her
all good.
shoulder. Can we
Ooh,
talk about
the
the
shoulder, yes.
Yeah,
there,
the
that was a
shoulder,
special
yeah.
effect.
Dislocated shoulder, like
Yeah, it looked
that
great.
shit. Like I was like, ooh, and like it was all like it. The camera stayed there the whole time that
Yep.
he relocated it, and I was like, how the hell did they like, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't relocate it right,
They-
but you know.
I think they used CGI for that, but they did
Yeah, yeah.
extremely well. Yeah.
They did it, yeah, really well. Like that looked like she actually dislocated her shoulder, and then like it just all in one shot. Like,
Sound
put it
design.
I mean, I had some issues with it in the first scene where I felt like the music of the restaurant was a little too loud, but as their characters slowly got divulged, I realized that it was kind of supposed to be that way. They weren't necessarily supposed to be hearing each other very well, and there's supposed to be kind of a character disconnect and whatnot since it was the beginning, and then they slowly build their relationship over time. So I forgave it, and the rest of it was great.
Editing, I absolutely love the editing.
Editing's amazing.
Yeah,
Yes.
they
Fucking
knew
top
when to
notch.
follow the rules. They knew when to break the rules, and
And-
those are my favorite filmmakers.
Like the editing too, like the anytime it did the thing where it cuts back and forth between two completely different scenes, like them in the car and then
And then the riot.
protests.
Yep.
Like
Oh my God, that was masterfully
that
done.
was so
We-
well done
we
because the
watched-
tension builds the same way, but it's a different kind of tension.
And you're seeing love and hate portrayed on screen simultaneously, and it's like,
Sexual tension and political tension.
no, we watched Phantom Menace last night, and I'm watching Jar Jar intercut with Padme and
Intercut with
intercutting
Anakin.
with fucking Anakin going,
Yeah,
"Now
you could
this is
easily do
pod
that
racing,"
stuff
and shit
terribly.
like that, and it's just like, my God, this is cinema.
Well, and then we get like stuff like The Room, where Tommy Wiseau's fucking bare ass
I
just
will
like
send
fucking
the way of the bullets.
like chest humping Lisa, and it's like here with you,
And we
like
got
we
some bare ass, and
actually
it was
like
amazing.
yeah, like we get to see Daniel Kaluuya's ass. Honestly, if you're gonna watch this movie, go for that. Like that alone, man. His ass is like woo.
Oh, that scene is so serious. It is very hard to be turned on during.
It's
I don't know.
It's clearly more than like the scene is about more than just
Yeah, I
sex and
I
more
disagree.
than just the protest.
I think protest turned me on and sex turns me on. So like that was a fucking that was a
too.
rage that was a rager there.
God.
The music was music. This
was
is
good.
good music.
Yeah, and it kind of followed the theme of like his playlist. She mentions that at the beginning, and
Yeah,
so
he
you
has
get
a
a lot
playlist.
of like gospel, like R&B, some rhythm and poetry.
Sick.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Set design, the locations they went to were well done. I liked his trashy pimp house.
movie's not filmed in a series of interiors.
God damn it, Sam Mendes.
Costumes, loved them.
Yeah, I thought they were great. Yeah,
What do you think, Sydney?
Yeah,
even the lingerie.
well, yeah, because she literally has to like they have to like scramble for their clothes. Like they're wearing one thing that's very like emblematic of who they were, and then there's a reason why they end up like they're at her pimp uncle's house. Because it's never specified if that's what's going on at his house, but it seems to be pretty clear that that's
It
what's
seems
going
like
on
he's
at
a
his house.
small time pimp.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, he's got a bunch of women that he talks about making money off of them. Yeah. So they have to like grab clothes super quickly, and like all that Slim can grab is some of the uncle's clothes, and all that she can grab is one of the women's clothes. So she's got like this super short dress, and like she's trying to find boots that fit and everything.
which
and, like,
raises the tension more because they're so like they're more oblivious than ever.
But yeah, like it's just like the outfits that they end up wearing are so completely like contrasting to what they were wearing before. Same with like the fact that they have to like, she has to take out her box braids, he has to shave his head and his face, like, and they look completely different, and it's just like the symbolic of the fact that they have to shed their entire
I
former
wanted to mention that.
lives.
That
Like-
was incredible. That was one of my favorite scenes. Again, a moment where they just like lingered on
Mm-hmm.
each of them for a while, and we just look into their face as they're just like
As they're processing the fact that they have to
symbolically
shed
doing
who
that.
they were
Yep.
in order to become the type of people that they need to be to survive the next however many days they can survive before they're caught.
All right. Final thoughts. God damn, this movie's good. Go fucking see it. Especially if you love cops. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, honestly. Yeah, I also would like to add, like, there are a lot of movies that do the whole, I just met you, now we're in love. This is the best one ever. Like this is the most believable I just met you, now we're in love story I've ever seen in my life.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, the emotional stakes are higher, and you actually see the evolution of them getting to know each other. So, yeah, it's just really powerful, worth seeing, and like it dabbles so much in the gray, like there's so much gray. There's so much, like it does not shy away from it at all.
And not Liam Neeson's wolf killing the gray.
No, it's there's more than 50 Shades.
Did you notice the Tarantino trunk shot?
Yes.
I was stoked as shit, and he also did the Reservoir Dogs around the table, and the title card credits were from Pulp Fiction. Yeah, I was stoked about that.
And additionally too, like everything that they do, like that's quote unquote criminal in this, is like highly like calculated out of need and really barely criminal. Like the scene where he goes to rob the gas station, he doesn't even technically rob the gas station. The guy just gives him the money for the gas because he lets him hold the gun.
That's probably the scene that requires the most suspension of disbelief, honestly.
And then like,
What is it about
rather than like
the so powerful?
Like, and you can tell that because she's a lawyer, she's like calculating like, if we do this, what are we gonna be charged with, sort of thing. Like each step that they take, so they like go out of their way. Like it's not like the standard like couple on the run where they just start they're just murdering people left and right. They kill one person out of self-defense, and then the rest of the way, like.
And they take one guy to the hospital.
Yeah, they take a guy that they accidentally hit to the hospital, even though they don't have to, and he's all like in support of them. They like put a cop in a trunk, and leave him there. They don't like kidnap anybody. They don't take anybody hostage. They don't like technically even rob anyone.
No, I thought about it, and just like most of the time, I'm like, that's what I would do.
They just like they and it's very clear that they're very aware of like, especially Angela, because she's a lawyer, like very aware of which actions could be construed as yet another. I mean, that they've committed the big one, killing a cop. But like,
and while this
they're
movie,
aware of every little action that could be used against them by the media, by the cops, as justification.
Yeah, and while this movie, like, while it's obviously very sympathetic towards them, it also shows the potential consequences of someone idolizing a cop killer, to the extent that they like intentionally or unintentionally would want to seek it out and kill them themselves. So the movie's not just like, it's just like there's so much gray area. It's like the movie takes a stance, but it's also like understands that like, not all cops and fucking,
which I roll that you even have to say that.
But it's true though. It's like it's wise of the movie to portray as much gray area as possible.
Yeah, totally.
Especially like people are really turned off by, like, in the media and stuff, by politics and cinema, and when a movie just like is clearly one-sided, it can turn off even people who support it. I know for me that can happen sometimes, where I'm just like, all right, you're just spoon-feeding me all the things that I want to hear. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, the whole preaching to the choir thing. But yeah, this had a lot more gray area.
All right, final thoughts.
I gave my final thoughts.
Okay.
Nominate this shit, Oscars. You better.
Yeah,
God
seriously.
damn it. God damn it.
Yeah, seriously.
I have.
Don't just nominate Joker for stupid shit. Nominate this.
No, it's not gonna happen. I don't think it will. I hate to be cynical, but like I don't think the Oscars are gonna pay attention to this movie.
Oh no, I thought you meant Joker.
Joker. Joker's funded by Warner Brothers because it's all about money. This was funded by like 5 different production companies who probably don't have the money to properly campaign for the Oscars. I guess it was Universal. Under the
Universal,
umbrella.
put out the money for Oscar campaign for this film. It fucking deserves it.
All right.
All right, we gotta go though. Immediate review out. Peace.
Actual peace.